Behind every spectacular home design is vision, imagination, and attention to detail.
What becomes the final product is a result of months of planning and hard work. Space by space, we're going to show you exactly how that happens.
I'm Becki.
And I'm Brett. We're siblings who build custom homes together and have a lot of fun doing it.
Sometimes too much fun.
Come along for the journey from rendering to reality.
Come on, Brett, let's go.
Let's take a peek at a few of our favorite entryways. Beachfront, which shows off the 3-story beautiful staircase, as well as the unbelievable $1 million views of the water. Family Ties, with its soft vine wall and light-filled courtyard, as well as a couple other stunning builds. The first thing you have to understand going into a custom home, building a house, you gotta know there's gonna be problems.
And nothing's perfect.
You cannot go into it expecting perfection. Your ability to work together with your team through those problems is probably one of the most critical things you can do in building a home and designing a home. I think you've got to be able to solve problems and challenges as they come up.
I think too, as I've worked, I feel like problems come up, but it doesn't affect me like it used to. Now I know that they're solvable. Most anything you do, you can fix. I mean, it might take a little extra money and time, but for the most part, everything's fixable. And I mean, we like to just help our clients realize that no problem's like too big. We will fix it, we will make it work.
But in the moment, I've been in moments where it's like, I don't know how I'm gonna fix this. And I think the solution actually becomes getting more brains involved and thinking through it. I think knowing that there's gonna be problems eventually, having the ability to solve them with a team approach is probably the best approach. Yeah. Bringing more in, when something comes up on a job and I'm just stumped with how to fix it, I'll always run it by, my framer or my cabinet guy or, somebody that's involved and can help me think through it a little more openly. And, I'll call Becki late at night and say, I can't do this. You've got this design, I cannot do it. So help me through it. Let's fix this.
Yeah, you can always get it done, or you just have to kind of rework it to make it work.
And honestly, some of my problems are
me.
That's a perfect line. No, I mean, sometimes I overthink things and think, this is a problem. And then, Becki or somebody will come and say, you know what, you're the only one that thinks that's a problem. And, if
we've had that recently.
If you just tweak it just a little bit, sometimes you just have to work through it. But getting through it together with more than just one brain is
helpful.
Is the way to do it, I think.
Yeah.
The first impression of a house, I think, everything's critical, right? Every part of the house is important. But I think this is one of the most important. As you pull up to the curb, the curb appeal, walking up, seeing the elevation of the house. And I remember once talking to a client about how they wanted to have a wow moment at every turn. So creating that wow moment, you walk up, you pull up, and it's like, oh, that house is awesome. And then you walk in the entry, and you see the front door and the entry, oh, that is awesome. And then you walk in the front door, and you're like, oh, that is awesome. And then you walk around another corner and see the backyard and the outdoor space, and like, oh, and the view, oh. Anyway, I love to create from start to finish. And the entry is like one of the most important spots to feel that.
Did your client really make those faces?
Maybe.
I don't think so.
No, maybe I did.
Yeah, you probably did. I don't know.
At every step is something unique and something special, and you're just like, I love that. Oh, I love that more. Oh, I love that most. And you just kind of work your way through.
So do you look through a lot of people's entries, or are you just talking about the ones that we build?
No. I mean, I'm just saying, that feeling of like, you walk up to a house, even from the
it's exciting.
street,
you
you're
want
like,
it a little bit exciting from when you
that looks so
at
cool,
it.
I want to get in there.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's just a weird passion I have. But I like, and then you walk up to the door and you're like, like the curb appeal. And you're like, oh, I want to see what else. Yeah. What else is there?
Yeah. No, entries are super important for us too. Like we definitely try to make that first impression really special, and so that kind of gives the feeling of what the whole house will look like by the entry. If there is one, sometimes there's really small entries and you just kind of make it work. But sometimes there's grand entries and you really want to set that tone for the rest of the house in the entry. I think that's super important. We really try to focus on entryways in the beginning just because it's the door and it's the entry, like the first thing you see. So that's really something we focus when we start to design. When designing an entry, that's the first thing people see. And you kind of want to make a wow, like a statement. You want people to come in, you want it to feel cohesive with the rest of the house. I usually start with a really pretty rug and then kind of build from there. Also, when you walk in and you see an amazing chandelier, there's nothing better. I love pretty lighting. But underneath all that is like your hard surface that you're selecting. Usually, we've been doing a lot of wood alternatives lately just because they're really durable, they're waterproof, they're pretty much kid-proof or pet-proof, and people really like it because it looks a lot like wood. We do use a lot of real wood as well, and a lot of our projects have both, but it is nice to have that option to, it's less expensive to go with a wood alternative and it gives you that same look, or you just go for it and you go for the real wood in the entry. If you want that more authentic feel, then I would say go for real wood. But if you're looking for a little bit more durable or something that your pets and your kids won't ruin, then I would say go for the wood alternative. But a lot of people just love the real wood and they want to say this is real wood, and if that's the case, then I say go for it. It's so beautiful, but I don't think you can go wrong in either situation.
So tell me what you love about designing entry spaces.
I feel like that's the first thing people see. It's the initial kind of feeling they get when they walk in. And so I think it's really important to set the stage right when you walk in, what the whole feeling of the house is going to be. So I really try to do that from the moment you step in there.
Yeah.
One thing I love to do when designing entries is just have some kind of really cool light fixture or a cool runner, maybe use a vintage rug just to kind of invite you in. Those are probably the two things that I like to start with, is either a really cool light fixture or a really cool rug right when you walk in. Yeah. That's probably a starting point for me.
And I think the front door is super important.
Totally.
The size and the spec and the material on a front door. We've done front doors, whether it's glass, whether it's metal, whether it's wood.
Yeah.
We've done every different type. And I think the statement of a front door is a huge part of the entry.
Here we have a rendering here that has a pretty chandelier, it has a wall detail, there's all the stuff that you can add to an entry just to make it interesting as you walk in. We tend to like to do something that just draws you in, whether it's beams or some kind of wall detail, a pretty rug. I think any of that kind of stuff can really make your entry special. And to wrap it up, I feel like it's the first thing you see and it's the last thing you see as you leave. And entries are really important just to kind of set that tone for your entire home.
And I think as you go from design to construction, the entry becomes a critical part of the first thing you see. So whether you're designing a water feature as you come into the entry, or a sitting area, or a view area, or foliage and greenery that kind of softens the hardness of the concrete in the house, that becomes a critical design to implement into construction and to make sure it all flows from the approach to the house and inside.
Yeah.
So now we're on the construction side of an entryway. This entry is actually not very overstated. It's a small space, but we're trying to utilize it to the best of our ability. We've got a great glass front door with some nice features in it, and it just walks into a beautiful entry that Becki's designed. And you've got these killer arches with a cool chandelier that's planning to go here. Again, we've got it coming right down centered on the door, as well as centered on this archway to make everything kind of balance. It's not overstated, it's not a huge space, but it's a simple, attractive front entry that I think is going to look great. So whenever you're designing and building a custom home, that first impression, the entry space, becomes such a critical element of the home and design. I think as you look at Becki's rendering and you see kind of how it's starting to take shape, it is such an attractive look. You kind of come up this windy driveway and then you pull around and you see this front door that once you look through this front door and see the view, it is like awe-inspiring. I mean, look at from her rendering to the reality of what we're starting, it's gonna be such a cool look. You walk through this front door and you can kind of see the windows flanking the front door. It's like a 10 by 10 foot opening that's just a huge statement. As you walk up to it and walk through it, you're gonna have glass and wood and metals all combining with the stone on the sides running through that entry. It's just gonna draw you in and then draw your eye out to the back pool area and the views. It's gonna be an awesome entry. You know, when you're thinking about the entry, like let's just look at viewpoint for example. You know, you've basically got a 10-foot wide open canvas, trying to create the doorway and the windows, and so that's something you have to think about is how do you want to incorporate the door, but how does that door talk to the sides? You know, you've got window. Do you want to do windows along the sides? You don't want to do windows in the door. You've got outdoor elements that you want to transition through, and so that has stone coming through on both sides, and so you've got these anchor points, and you want it. I mean,
as you walk in, there's stone going on each side. We're gonna have like a console and a mirror, but it's not a huge entry, but there is a distinguished part that's an entry, and then you go into this huge living space.
But you've also got the tongue and groove on the ceiling.
There is a little
transitions
detail.
from the outdoor porch through the door to the indoor entry, and it just kind of, again, it blurs the line from outdoor to indoor, and it makes that transition. It's like, I want to get in there. You know? So this is another part of the front entry that I'm super passionate, super excited about. As you look from the outside in, we're gonna carry that wood tongue and groove through the front door into this front entry. So it makes this feel like it's one element from inside to outside. The stone flanking the sides, as you look at the renderings, on both sides we've got stone, we've got wood on the ceiling, we've got the front door system all in one. We're carrying the floor through, and then you just walk in and it's just bam, right in your face. Look at this view. Unbelievable. I don't think there's anything as good as seeing a well-executed front entry. To show that reveal to a client is priceless. Here at Beachfront, it's a nice entry, but right as you come in, you see this 3-story stairway that's floating, and it was easy to design, but hard to build.
Whatever.
Anyway, I love it. It turned out great. Let's go check it out.
So Beachfront's entry is obviously 3 stories high. It's open. You walk in and it's pretty good size, and it feels good size because the railing is so open and nice. And I mean, we try to do like a really cool runner as you walk in. There's a cool chandelier hanging, and I feel like it's very inviting from the curb because the door is see-through. You can see it's a white glass door.
I'm all about where it draws your eye.
Like,
because it's a glass door, you see through it, and you're like, ooh,
you see
look,
that
look,
what else
look
is
back
in
there. Look back there.
Yeah.
And it's to the ocean view. It's to the sandy beach.
It's to the ocean view.
Through
the lagoon in Utah. The ocean view in Utah.
But I'm talking like through the front door, through the house.
You can see the pool.
To the sand, to the water. It's well lit. It's fresh.
All right, here we are in the beachfront entry. So when you walk in, you look up and it's just like this super tall. How tall?
Oh, man, it's like 20 feet to the ceiling, but then you look at the third level, it's even higher.
Yeah, 20 feet ceiling. One challenge we had was finding a light that was big enough. The first light we had, we got in and we were like, whoa, that is way too small. So then we had to quickly order another light to get it here in time, and we got it, and I think it worked out perfectly. It's a mixture. It's a mixed metals. It's black and silver, and I think it tied in the railing and it tied everything together.
And you see through the house to the back, and the view. You know, if you've got a great view in the back or a great backyard, you want to look through the front door and kind of see through the house to what's behind it. And I love walking. I mean, that's the feeling like I want to give people. Like they walk up to the front door, and it's like
it's that first impression.
I want to get in there.
Yeah.
You know, I want to get in there and see what this is all
You're
about.
excited. You're excited. I want to get in there. I hear you.
That's what I love to do in a front entry.
And I feel like this one's perfect because it's all clear glass. You walk in, you can see through. You can see. I love to have a beautiful entry rug with a little bit of color. As you can see, everything's pretty muted, and we still have that beachy feel, but we have some blues and reds and in the rug, and just kind of ties in with the rest of the house as you walk through.
Well, I remember when on the right by the front door, you wanted to create that texture with that vertical slat wall, and so we carried it 2 stories.
Yeah.
But it wasn't easy. I mean, you go up 2 stories, you're working around the stairs, you're working, you're working around
the shiplap going up, the vertical shiplap.
But you've got. We
actually, I mean, to be honest, wanted that in the whole space, and that got cut.
But it worked.
I know. So it's really on this one wall when it should be.
But look at the. I mean,
it's fine.
But you're already looking at the floating. I mean, you've got 3 stories of floating stairs that creates a really cool element because you can see all the way up to the 3rd level with the open staircase.
With the shiplap, we opted to do vertical instead of horizontal, just because it was such tall ceilings that we didn't want to cut it off at all and make it. We just wanted to make it feel grand when you walked in. You know, the entry.
I think we did horizontal up in the bunk room.
Yeah.
But
But the ceilings aren't as high. Yeah.
So it just works. It just depends on
the
the design.
We like to mix and match. The shiplap I feel like it really lended itself to just take it all the way up to the ceiling.
And I think you also designed the wood treads with the open railing. Each spindle going down into the wood tread just creates a nice step layered look.
So that's a really hard. I mean, it's not easy to make that seamless. They did a good job in the build. That just made that super seamless where the railing connects to the wood tread. And just a little tip is this is not actually the LVP. So the LVP is the floor, the wood alternative floor that we used. And this is actually real wood on the stairs that they matched. They did a great job.
The other thing, a challenge, I think, doing these stairs, I remember when we were talking to the homeowner, he was building another house in another area and he couldn't figure out, he says, I couldn't get my builder to do the floating staircase because they said it won't work. It takes a lot of structural elements and steel and engineering and that's to get it done. She just thinks I can draw it and it'll happen.
It will happen. It should. That's how it should be.
It doesn't
I'll
always
draw
work that
it
way.
and you make it happen.
You
Most
wish.
of the time.
You wish. Well, you have no idea how hard it is. You think it's just
What a baby.
done.
So on each landing there's a few windows, and the homeowner really wanted some privacy as, just throughout the house so you're not able to see. So we opted to do some smaller windows that still let in light, but it's not like a huge window where someone's invading your privacy.
Truly, there's only like 6 feet between houses on this. And so while the front and the back elevations are super important to make them look good, the sides you won't even see. So you try to bring in a little bit of light with windows, but also know that, hey, right next to you is going to be another house. So you don't want to create too much open space.
And they can look inside at any point and check
out
what's going on.
You just want to think through the whole long-term process.
Yeah. Also, one other element that I love in this entry is just like a nice piece of art. We opted to do a beachy framed art, and I feel like it just kind of sets the tone for the whole house. That's kind of the color scheme we use for the whole house, and it just kind of invites you in. Again, we used a lot of wood in the entry and brought in some textures with the baskets for the plant and for under the console. I think we accomplished what we wanted to with the beachfront entry, and we love the space. And
I love the look and feel as you walk up to the front door.
Yeah.
I love that anticipation and then how it looks. We did it here, got it. Let's go look at the next one.
Yeah.
So here we are at the entry courtyard of Family Ties. I love the look, I love the feel. You did a great job designing it. I love the spot.
Yeah, I feel like we took a lot of thought in here because there's a lot of white going on. There's some textures with the stucco and the stone, but as you come in, you'll see this nice trellis with like vines coming up, and I think it just warms up the space and just really invites you into this area.
I mean, you think about entries and you've got concrete going against solid surface on the house, and it can get too hard.
Yeah.
And so if you can soften it, like you said, the vine wall with vines growing up, you know, you can soften that with a little bit of greenery and some plants and landscape, and that just softens that feel. You know, maybe some pots with some plants in it to kind of accentuate the side lights of the door like we did on Family Ties.
As you go towards the door is huge. It's a huge black metal door with glass so you can see inside.
5x9.
5x9. 5x9 door. It's a huge door. And then also we added some tongue and groove on the ceiling, which warms up that whole entry area.
Yeah, I think it just feels good. You can come out here, enjoy your morning, spend some time in a private, it's kind of a private courtyard.
Area,
but it's, like you said, the trellis, the green, the vines kind of soften the space where, you know, where you're going against the concrete, the stone, the stucco, and then...
I mean, one of my favorite parts too is those olive trees as you walk in with the huge pots
just
and the
softens
rug.
It, doesn't it?
Yep. And the entry rug, which I think is so pretty, and it just really just makes you want to go inside and check it out.
Well, the tongue and groove too. I love the wood ceiling. It's one of those things. Remember I said I love to come up to a front door. You're like, I gotta get in there. And this kind of invites you right through that.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love the feel of this entry. You nailed this one.
Well, it was a little bit of a debate at the beginning if we should really make this an entry or if we should just keep it nice and open. That was one of the things that we debated on a lot. You didn't really think there was enough room, but
it worked.
It worked.
I mean, feel like you put the table kind of just beyond the front door.
You're able to open that huge door. You don't hit the light. The entry in this space really separates from the living room, and I think it just was such a big space, we had to do something here to make sure that it felt apart from the living room. And I think we did a pretty good job of just separating that and making it feel light and airy and not too heavy as you walk in. We chose kind of a wood table, similar to the wood floor, and then a nice area rug, which is kind of where I like to start, is with the area rug and then build from there.
I love the front door and the front side light windows because your eye, it just bleeds the natural light in. And you look out and you see that, again, that trellis, that vine, the green, and I just love it.
I think the entry is such an important space. It's where you welcome your guests, where you welcome your kids home. It's also where you say goodbye, so that space as you work together is critical.
It's a special space. Say goodbye, say hello. We love the entry.
That's where you wrap up the goodbye.
That's a wrap.